Are you aware that the Episcopal Archbishop of Washington and the presiding bishop of the Episcopal Church nationally all denounced this police assault on the civil rights and civil liberties of the people?
Did they do that before or after the fire was put out?
Do you want to rephrase what you're doing? Because I think the word spying could cause everybody in the cable news ecosystem to freak out.
I'm not sure of all the connotations of that word that you're referring to, but, unauthorized surveillance.
Okay, thank you.
Is that more appropriate in your mind?
This is your call. I really did want to give you a chance to say it how you wanted to say it and make sure that you didn't misspeak.
How can you sit here and tell us, why should I investigate the President of the United States, if you're not even aware of the facts concerning the President using the pardon or commutation power to swap the silence of a witness?
Because we require...
Better strap yourself in. It's time for the Howie Carr Show.
2 LASD deputies were shot by a suspect, both reportedly shot in the head, and both have been rushed into surgery.
2 deputies who were ambushed by a gunman in a cowardly fashion.
This animal goes up to the car, 2 unsuspecting fine people, and I called him an animal, and I was criticized by people for calling him an animal. They said he's a human being. He's not a human being. He's an animal. He's not a human being.
They were both critically injured, multiple gunshot wounds. They are currently being treated for at the hospital.
Oh, 2 sheriffs shot in the face. They just got aired out. Somebody ran up on the car and bust on their ass.
Live from the Matthews Brothers Studios.
We are out here at St. Francis Hospital. We are going to go up here and just check on these murderers right here.
I hope they die, motherfucker.
Well, they were saying death to the police, kill the police. The hospital should be a sanctuary where we should leave hospitals alone.
Who's your captain? Howie Carr.
Joe Biden, he's shot, and everybody knows it. And you know what? They ought to be ashamed, because they do interviews with him, they give him the questions, and they let him read the answer from a teleprompter. How about the other day? Could you move that a little bit closer? See these things? Move it up.
Move it up here. Unchained and unstoppable.
You ever see a guy, he changed his mind on fracking? There will be no fracking. He doesn't even know what fracking is, I guarantee.
Exacerbating the need for environmental justice. Sorry, as a bug. Speaking of the environment.
Rump swabs, hacks, and moonbats beware. It's Howie Carr.
Breaking news, Joe Biden attacked by a bug in his backyard. Could have been worse. It could have been one of those Canada geese. If you've ever been around a place where there are a lot of Canada geese, you have to step gingerly. It's kind of like when Speaker Pelosi leaves her mansion in the city by the bay. All right, 844-500-4242, 844-500-4242. Welcome to the Howie Carr Show, and we have a lot planned today, as always, in this exciting run-up to the national elections on November the 3rd. And I guess the first thing is we have a bit of good news from Pennsylvania. A federal judge has ruled today that Pennsylvania Governor Tom Wolf's coronavirus orders, which shut down the state, closed businesses, and limited gatherings, stop me if you've heard this before, are unconstitutional. Good. U.S. District Judge William Stickman IV, a Trump appointee, said that in his opinion that Wolf and Pennsylvania Secretary of Health Rachel, formerly known as Richard Levine's, COVID-19 orders violated and continue to violate the First Amendment right to freedom of assembly and the due process and equal protection clauses of the 14th Amendment. And the Trump judge said that the efforts to stop the spread of the panic were undertaken with the good intention of addressing a public health emergency. How could it be a good intention to ever violate people's civil liberties? There is no question that this country has faced and will face emergencies of every sort, said the judge, but the solution to a national crisis can never be permitted to supersede the commitment to individual liberty that stands as the foundation of the American experiment. I would like to think that the members of the Supreme Judicial Court in Massachusetts are listening, but I'm not sure really how good their reading comprehension is. And I'm not sure they want to wear their lips out reading any decisions by anybody else. Very unimpressive collection of characters. Hacks. All right. 844-500-4242. 207 says, I used to feed the Canada geese up here at the border in Calais, Maine. They would bleep all over the place. No kidding. That's what I meant. You know what they do to golf courses? The greens? Mess, a big mess. All right, 844-500-4242. Horrible situation in L.A. and Compton over the weekend. This shooter, and I would think they're going to get the guy, $100,000 reward. You know, even if they can't identify him from the surveillance video, he looks like some kind of really short individual. Even if they can't identify him from the surveillance video, I would think someone will turn him in for the reward. $100,000 is a lot of money, obviously. But this was in Compton, south of the central city, and these two deputies, L.A. County deputies, were just sitting in their car, and this guy comes up to them and shoots them both in the head. One of them is a 31-year-old mother of a 6-year-old child. The other one is 24. They just graduated from the police academy. And then what makes it even worse is, as you know, then the local thug community goes to the hospital where they were taken, and they started chanting, "We hope they die. We hope they die."
I hope they die, motherfucker.
They're laughing it up. Oh, it's very funny. They shot the two cops. This is not going to end well for the Biden campaign. I'll tell you that. I don't think. I think this is really appalling. I just saw a poll this morning that said that 65% of the people who were responding to the poll said that these riots and this violence in the inner cities is a major problem. 12 people murdered by gunfire, 11 murdered by gunfire and 1 stabbed to death in Chicago this weekend, including an 86-year-old guy who was shot by an 85-year-old guy. It's endemic. 844-500-4242. Joe Biden, though, was in his backyard or in a wheat field or something today. I don't know where he was exactly. Maybe it looked like conservation land in Wilmington, Delaware. And he just turned in another Biden performance here. And let's start out with cut number 9, Taylor. Cut number 9.
We'll need scientists at the national labs and land-grant universities, historic black colleges and universities, to improve and innovate technologies needed to generate, store, and transmit this clean electric.
This clean electric. And those are people at the historic or Stark black colleges. I'm not sure exactly what it is. A lot of these quotes, increasingly, I discovered this weekend when I was trying to transcribe some of them for my column on Sunday. I can't come up with a word. It's just blah, blah, blah. Like, how do you turn that into letters? Blah, blah, blah. That's what he does.
I saw quotes from other people on Twitter trying to transcribe, and they say they just skip over them because they can't come up with words either. Yeah.
The one that Grace logged in last week is glebe. I kept listening to that over and over again on Saturday morning, and I just couldn't. Glebe was a nice word, but I couldn't do it. Lifeblood, I got that as lifebud. Okay, there's
glebe sounds like a curse word from Mars or something. What the glebe is going on here?
All right, and then here's one. Okay, cut 5.
Alleging that they knowingly wreaked havoc and damage on our climate.
They wreaked havoc on climate. Wreaked havoc. All right. Cut one.
That, in fact, have just been issued an emergency evacuation order for Hurricane Sally.
Hurricane Sally. When Harry met Sally.
Or the sequel, When Harry Caned Sally. That was banned in America.
Harry Kane. Remember when he said climate crisis? He said that a couple of weeks ago. He almost said it again this afternoon. Cut 8.
We can and we will solve the climate crisis.
The climate crisis. And, you know, it's getting kind of late in the day. It's he said this stuff about an hour ago, so it was just after 2 o'clock, and he gets a little sleepy. You know, he likes to have a little nap before the early bird special and his special tapioca pudding dessert. So he was ready for nap time, ready to get into his jammies and his little football pajamas. Cut 10.
To up the ante on climate commitments, where he reverses the Obama-Biden fuel efficiency standards.
Okay. All right. And then, of course, the one in the intro about where he can't say environment and then he's attacked by the bug, which, again, I repeat, is better than being attacked by a Canada goose. Cut 4.
Too often, the brunt falls disproportionately on communities of color, exacerbating the need for environmental justice. Sorry, as a bug. Speaking of the environment.
You would think his writers would know enough that not to put words like exacerbate in the same words with environmentalist.
And I bet you he's so proud of that little ad lib he had. Speaking of the environment, he on the way back home with Jill, he was, did you see that one? That's what he means by when he says, watch me. That's his mental acuity right there.
Right. That's Ted Kennedy used to say, ab-lib, not ad-lib, ab-lib. That's Joe Biden. He's an ab-libber. Yes, Grace.
I agree with you about the speechwriters, though, because sometimes I'll look over the stories for my news and I see a word, like, you know, a word that's going to be a little tough for me. And at least I know it's going to be tough for me, so I cross it out and I put an easier word in.
Right.
One that I know I'm going to nail. They're just putting in these words and these numbers knowing they're setting them up for disaster.
It's like last week with the MI. You know, when they thought he's in Michigan, so he'll know that MI refers to Michigan. And he read it as military like 3-4 times. Okay. Lord. 844-500-4242. If you haven't tried Super Beets Soft Chews, you don't know what you're missing. It is just a great, great product that comes in little tin foils, like a candy, like a Starburst, but it's good for you. It's a boost of energy. It's good for your heart. It's good for your blood pressure. It's good for your circulation. It's good for everything. Super Beets Soft Chews. Super Beets Soft Chews combine non-GMO beets with a powerful new ingredient, grapeseed extract. The grapeseed extract used in Super Beets Soft Chews has been clinically shown to be twice as effective at supporting normal blood pressure as a healthy lifestyle alone. Better blood pressure means more energy the way nature intended, without the jittery caffeine or stimulants. Now you can take just 2 delicious chews a day, anytime, anywhere, to get the blood pressure support you need and the energy you want. I take one in the morning right before I chew it up, right before I even have my first cup of coffee, and then I have one right before the show. It gives me that boost of energy that I need. It's so convenient. The powder is great, but you got to spoon it out, put it in a glass, put some water in, stir it up, drink it up, then wash the spoon and the glass. This is easier. Just slip 2 of them into your pocket as you leave for the day, and you're all set. Do what I did and support your heart health with delicious Super Beets Soft Chews. Get your Super Beets Chews today at superbeetsradio.com/Howie. And when you buy 2 bags, they'll throw in the 3rd for free. That's superbeetsradio.com/Howie. I'm Howie Carr.
The paper boy with a big microphone. Howie Carr.
Are you aware that the Episcopal Archbishop of Washington and the presiding bishop of the Episcopal Church nationally all denounced this police assault on the civil rights and civil liberties of the people?
Did they do that before or after the fire was put out?
Do you want to rephrase what you're doing? Because I think the word spying could cause everybody in the cable news ecosystem to freak out.
I'm not sure of all the connotations of that word that you're referring to, but unauthorized surveillance.
Okay, thank you.
Is that more appropriate in your mind?
This is your call. I really did want to give you a chance to say it how you wanted to say it and make sure that you didn't misspeak.
How can you sit here and tell us why should I investigate the President of the United States if you're not even aware of the facts concerning the President using the pardon or commutation power to swap the silence of a witness?
Because we require, a reliable predicate before we open a criminal investigation.
Do you think that this body right here would rise up if they decided to go tonight and paint the Capitol building?
This body, I'm not sure.
You've been hearing me talk about Super Beets for a while now, and I'm sure some of you are still thinking, why Super Beets? You could take it from me. The benefits of Super Beets are incredible. I take them twice a day, once in the morning when I get up, even before I have my first cup of coffee, and the other time in the afternoon, right before the show. It gives me a burst of energy. It's great for my blood pressure. It's good for circulation. It just makes you feel better. If that doesn't convince you, we can talk about the science behind Super Beets. Beets have nitrates. Nitrates support better blood flow, and better blood flow equals better energy and efficiency throughout the body, and even supports healthy blood pressure. But Super Beets does so much more than eating regular beets and is unparalleled compared to other beet powders. Just one scoop of Super Beets has the nitric oxide equivalent of 3 whole beets. Go to superbeetsradio.com/Howie and try out Super Beets yourself. www.superbeetsradio.com/Howie. www.superbeetsradio.com/Howie. The Moonbats always say Donald Trump isn't very bright. But what about Barack Hussein Obama? Let's listen to some of his greatest hits.
I've now been in 57 states. I think one left to go. I don't know what the term is in Austrian. The Cambridge police acted stupidly. And there has never been any man or woman more qualified for this office than Hillary Clinton. There are neighborhoods around the country where it is easier for a 12 or 13-year-old to purchase a gun and cheaper than it is for them to get a book. I believe in the Second Amendment. It's there written on the paper. If we fall for, a bunch of okey doke. A few months ago, when you were asked what's the biggest geopolitical threat facing America, you said Russia, not Al Qaeda. You said Russia. In the 1980s are now calling to ask for their foreign policy back.
This is Mark in Williston, Vermont.
This is Marie in Somerville, Massachusetts.
This is Mike from South Attleboro, Mass. And this is the Howie Carr Show.
We have to act as a nation. It shouldn't be so bad that millions of Americans live in the shadow of an orange sky. They're left asking, is doomsday here?
If you're elected, it is, and we get ranked choice voting here in Massachusetts, and they abolish the filibuster, and they jam through voting for illegal aliens and 16-year-olds, and they make the District of Columbia a state, and they abolish the Electoral College. They pack the Supreme Court. Yeah, doomsday's here. That's what we got to stop. We got to stop it on November the 3rd. Ralph Gantz, the Chief Justice of the Mass Supreme Judicial Court, has died. He had a heart attack on September the 4th, and he said he was optimistic about his recovery and his ability to return to the bench. And after the hearing last week on the unconstitutional shutdown by the dictator of Massachusetts, Charlie Parker, he was expected to vote on the lawsuit by the plaintiffs, the petitioners to lift the lockdown and restore constitutional liberties to the people of Massachusetts. But obviously now his death was, I think, unexpected. So our condolences to all concerned. Today's poll question is brought to you by the Oxford Club. Start feeling secure about your life savings and investments today by watching Bill O'Reilly's Great American Wealth Project. Go to howiecarrshow.com and click on the Bill O'Reilly banner. Taylor, what's the poll question? What are the results thus far?
Did you end up watching at least a few seconds of the NFL games yesterday?
No. I wanted to reward it. Did you end up not watching no more than a few seconds, Taylor?
That's not what you said.
No, I said, did you end up not watching more than a few seconds?
That sounds confusing.
I know, but the thing is, I watched a few seconds. I went to Legal Seafood. I had some gift certificates from a credit card. And so I went to Legal Seafood in Chestnut Hill, and I was walking by the bar, which was deserted, which always makes me sad when I see the deserted bar, especially when there's a football game up. So I watched a few seconds of it. But that's all I watched was a few seconds. So how was it worded again? So I'm going to have to change my answer. Go ahead.
Did you end up watching at least a few seconds of the NFL games yesterday?
A very few seconds, yes.
All right. You write down exactly what you want me to put on, and I'll change it for the next time around. But as of right now, 60% said no, they didn't watch at least a few seconds.
Really? I tell you, as depressing as it was to see the empty bar, and I'm sure, and every bar in the Commonwealth was empty, it was also depressing to see them trying to kick a field goal at the end of the first half, and they couldn't do it, and there was nobody in the stands. Not even somebody holding up a sign that said John 3:16, like it used to be in the old days. So I don't know. I'm not that interested in it though. I won't watch anything long term. I didn't go home and click it on or anything like that. All right. 844-500-4242. Let's have this one. I think this may have been on Thursday, but we didn't get around to playing it. This is Pelosi now. Pelosi, she always talks, these Republicans, they want to poison the air. They want to poison the water that our children drink. They reject the science. So now Nancy Pelosi, Marie Antoinette, with the $12 ice cream and the $10,000 Sub-Zero freezers and the no mask when she goes into the hair salon. Now she has become a priestess of a pagan cult. Cut 21.
We have these fires in California and in the West. 16 people have died in Washington, Oregon, and California, including a firefighter and a 1-year-old baby. Our firefighters have been so very, very courageous. Now we're again breaking records. Mother Earth is angry. She's telling us, whether she's telling us with hurricanes on the Gulf Coast, fires in the West, whatever it is, that the climate crisis is real and has an impact.
Mother Earth is angry. Nancy Pelosi, third in line to the presidency, says Mother Earth is angry. Did she see the picture of the woman in Oregon who tracked down this guy, this would-be arsonist? And she had him down on the pavement of the street or the road outside her house, and she had a gun pulled, and as he was spread-eagled, and she said to him, "If my husband had found you, you would be dead." Was this guy Mother Earth? Was that his name? Mother Earth tried to start a fire. Did Mother Earth have a gender reveal party in Southern California that started a big hunk of these forest fires? Did Mother Earth say that they shouldn't clear out all the fallen trees, the scrub? I'm Howie Carr.
Don't miss your final chance. Come on, come on, come on.
The Subaru of New England Final Chance Clearance is going on now. This is your final chance to get behind the wheel of a brand new 2020 Subaru Forester. Lease for only $265 per month for 36 months with $24.65 due at signing. Details at SubaruofNewEngland.com.
When we had Fresh Rest Bedding on the show for a cheap bastard deal, they sold out fast, like in 10 minutes. But it makes sense. We were offering the amazing sheets for 50% off. Well, I've got good news. If you go to FreshRestBedding.com, they're dropping all their prices by 60% off through September. Take advantage of Fresh Rest Bedding that controls dust mites and pet dander. I use Fresh Rest Bedding, and it's cool, clean, and comfortable. This is a huge sale, guys. You don't want to miss it. Go to FreshRestBedding.com, FreshRestBedding.com. Howie says it all the time. When it comes to bad politicians, Massachusetts takes the cake.
It is my honor to introduce to you your senator, my senator, Senator Elizabeth Warren.
I know who I am because of what my mother and my father told me.
Ladies and gentlemen, I give you Governor Deval Patrick.
And frankly, I got to tell you, with all the other things I'm worrying about, this is not one of them. We're going to be fine. I'm in charge.
Please join me in welcoming our own Senator Ed Markey.
The planet is running a fever. There are no emergency rooms for planets.
The very first African-American congresswoman to be elected from Massachusetts, Ayanna Pressley.
We don't need any more brown faces that don't want to be a brown voice. We don't need black faces that don't want to be a black voice. We don't need Muslims that don't want to be a Muslim voice. We don't need queers that don't want to be a queer voice.
Let's give him a great Waterloo reception. John Kerry.
The Yankees posted the Boston Red Sox logo and they sang Sweet Adeline.
Now's the perfect time to get a pair of premium wireless earbuds, and Raycon is the way to go. Raycon start at about half the price of other premium brands on the market, and they sound just as amazing. And Raycon's everyday E25 earbuds are their best model yet. You get 6 hours of playtime, seamless Bluetooth pairing, more bass, and a more compact design that gives you a comfortable, noise-isolating fit. Perfect for conference calls, video chats, or binging podcasts. Raycon was founded by Ray J, and celebrities like Cardi B and J.R. Smith have already given Raycons their seal of approval. I love my Raycons, and Grace loves hers, too.
Howie, I love my Raycons. Best birthday gift ever.
I listen to much better music than she does, though.
Hey, that's not true.
Now it's your turn to see what the hype is all about. Go to buyraycon.com/Howie. That's buyraycon.com/Howie. buyraycon.com/Howie.
There are plenty of differences between Trump and the Democrats running for 2020, but the main one is Trump's pretty funny. Take a listen.
What advice would you give to the 25-year-old Donald Trump knowing what you know today?
Don't run for president. I'm not a drinker. I can honestly say I never had a beer in my life, okay? It's one of my only good traits. I don't drink. Whenever they're looking for something good, I say, I never had a glass of alcohol. I've never had alcohol. Can you imagine if I had? What a mess I'd be. I'd be the world's worst. Other countries, big countries, India and others, we had to pay because they considered them a growing country. They were a growing country. I said, what are we? Are we allowed to grow too? Okay. No, are we allowed to grow? I try like hell to hide that bald spot, folks. I work harder. Doesn't look bad. Hey, we're hanging in. I should have saved the Pocahontas thing for another year. Because I've destroyed her political career, and now I won't get a chance to run against her, and I would have loved it. I don't want to knock out all of the good stuff and end up with somebody that's actually got talent. That would be terrible.
Are we starting to feel bad for Joe Biden? Sorta. Are we going to play his gaffes anyway? Of course.
My name's Joe Biden. I'm a Democratic candidate for the United States Senate.
Now we need to stand behind Jamie Harrison, the next president of the United States.
I'm looking forward to appointing the first African-American woman to the United States Senate.
Just like here in California, here in Nevada.
Back in the spring, late fall, late spring, late winter, early fall, anyway, you know what I mean.
Look, tomorrow's Superstar Tuesday.
I tell you what, I'm rushing ahead, aren't I?
We hold these truths to be self-evident. All men and women created by you know the thing.
It says you cannot have 20, 30, 40, 50 clips in a weapon. We'll see who's sleepy.
Mr. Vice President, thank you.
All right, Chuck, thank you very much.
All right, it's Chris.
Sometimes I wake up and I think it's 1920 and not 2020.
Live from the Matthews Brothers Studios.
844-500-4242. 844-500-4242. With us now on the news line is Judge Jeanine Pirro. You know her from the Fox News Channel, and she's also a best-selling author. She has her own show on Saturday night, and she's oftentimes a guest during the week on the Fox News Channel. Her new book is called Don't Lie to Me, and Stop Trying to Steal Our Freedom. Judge Jeanine, thanks for being with us here on the Howie Carr Show.
Well, Howie, I love being with you, and I loved listening to your review of Joe Biden and how absolutely cogent he is and how lucid he is in his messages. And, the real killer was when he was saying, I think it was this past week, move it up. And, obviously referring to his teleprompter and then always looking down because he's reading his notes. I mean, are people really serious about having this guy as a president of the United States? I mean, can you imagine how we'd go against a Kim Jong-un or a Xi Jinping? I mean, really? Or even the Iranians, although they would probably agree.
How about Joe Rogan saying he will live stream a 4-hour, not 1, 2, 3, 4-hour debate between the two of them?
Yep.
That would be great.
I got to tell you, he'll never do it. And, the amazing part of it is, if you just say to the American people, being president is a job that is 24/7. Joe Biden goes out for a day or a half a day, doesn't really shake hands, doesn't get involved with people, reads a teleprompter and a script, then he goes home for 3 days.
Yeah.
I mean, this guy's running for president. I mean, how could anyone support that? How are we going to run a country with a guy who isn't really clear on what he stands for? One day it's wear a mask. The next day it's don't wear a mask. It's like,
one day's for fracking, the next day he's against. One day he's against fracking, the next day he's for fracking. One day's for defunding the police, the next day he's against defunding the police. Then there's the China travel ban was xenophobic. Then President Trump didn't put it into effect soon enough.
Yeah, and the amazing part is that Joe Biden was having rallies, to the extent you can call 20 people a rally, in March of this year after the travel ban. And he writes an op-ed piece as if he knows how to resolve the coronavirus issue. I mean, he was with the administration that didn't leave any PPE or mask or what we needed in the event of a pandemic. And they keep talking about, he solved Ebola. Really?
Yeah.
When did Ebola show up?
Did you see the anonymous message that was posted? And again, I'm being very clear. It's anonymous, supposedly from an ex-Joe Biden staffer about how far gone he is. Though according to this guy that posted anonymously, one day in the spring, he woke up and he thought it was 1987, and he was running against Gary Hart for the presidential nomination.
Oh, my God. We're in such big trouble. But you see, then the question becomes, Howie, who is pulling the strings? Who has him out running? Why is his wife with him constantly? Why is she always right there? It's almost like she's his caretaker. Mm-hmm. And it's very disturbing to me that he doesn't come out. And when he does come out, he's got to have people around him. And no, I didn't see anonymous, but as soon as I hang up, I'm going to look for anonymous.
Yeah, it's under Thomas Lifson, American thinker. I tweeted it out, actually. There's another thing, Judge Jeanine. They said that, I guess, one of the side effects of this anti-Alzheimer's medication that he's allegedly on is Namenda, is incontinence. And so this guy who posted this said that the staffers had a debate about what kind of adult diapers they were going to put on him, because they were saying, we think this. They were bringing him in, and they were saying this crinkles when you sit down, so we can't have him sitting down because the crinkle will come through. It's just, if it's true, this is why we need drug tests before the debates, right?
We absolutely need drug tests. And, when I asked the president, when I interviewed him on Thursday at the White House, I said, how is it that one day he can't finish a sentence? And then when he debated Bernie Sanders, he was relatively cogent. And he said drugs. And the sad part about all this is they're lying to us. They're lying to us when they put him in front of us and they tell us that he's fine and that there's nothing wrong with it. And they're lying to us about this pandemic, and it is just the perfect opportunity for them to hide him in the basement, to make us afraid. It's a whole control thing. And I talk about it in my book. Don't lie to me. I'm tired. When I was a judge, it made me crazy when people lied to me. It still makes me crazy when people lie to me. And then when Joe Biden comes out and says, oh, yeah, I absolutely defund the police, but no, not really. 100 days, Howie, he didn't say one word about the burning and the looting and the devastation going on in our cities. And they're telling us that we're exaggerating.
Yeah.
Look, walk down Fifth Avenue in New York City or any street in New York City. You'll see what these bozos are doing. And today, de Blasio decides, well, the Thanksgiving Day parade, we're going to make it virtual. Are you stupid, too?
I know, Judge Jeanine, the governor of Massachusetts, he's a nominal Republican, but he might as well be a Democrat. He's going to a virtual celebration of the virtual Boston Marathon tonight. And it was just people walking around with apps recording that they walked or rode or ran 26 miles. I saw some people walking by where I live. I live right on the marathon route. And so yesterday, some people were walking by, and there were these spectators going, "Yay, go!" I mean, I feel like I'm in a bizarro world. Judge
You're
Jeanine.
in the twilight zone. But what do you think our forefathers are thinking right now? I think they've spun around in their graves so much there's nothing left to spin.
I know. So tell me more about your book. So you just interviewed the President of the United States, correct?
Right. And, one of the things I talked about, I said, Mr. President, with the book, I go around the country, as you know, Howie, and, I talk to people, and people are frightened. People are frightened because they're defunding the police, and then they want to open the borders, then they want to lock you in your house, and then they want to take away your guns. People are afraid, and I said to the president, they are planning on election night, if you win, assuming all these mail-in ballots come in. I mean, that's another hour and a half we could talk. Then they are going to have an absolute, there's going to be chaos and rioting everywhere. And I said to the president, what are you going to do? He said, we're going to stop it in a minute. I said, what are you going to do? He said, insurrection. I said, well, why not now? He said, it isn't necessary now. He's waiting for the National Guard to be invited in by states, and we saw it in Kenosha and we saw it in Milwaukee. The National Guard comes in, bing, bang, it's over. But the Democrats want the chaos because they're saying it's Donald Trump's fault. There's another lie. It's Donald Trump's fault. He didn't react to the coronavirus soon enough, but as soon as he did and stopped travel, he was xenophobic and he was hysterical. And Joe Biden's still having rallies. I mean, give me a break. And then now when the president is trying to stop it, they won't even talk about it. Joe Biden didn't talk about the riots for 100 days. How many people died, were shot, lost their businesses, their livelihood, and these people are lying to us like, no, they're peaceful. Are you stupid? Well, I can't deal with it, Howie.
Well, you see, Biden yesterday, I think it was, tweeted out about these terrible shootings in L.A. and he said we have to get the weapons of war out of the hands. These were a bazooka or a howitzer. It was a handgun.
It was a handgun.
He's crazy.
The guy doesn't know what he's talking about. And there's another example. Every day, every time he opens his mouth, he makes a mistake. He's wrong or he's lying. It's just like fracking. Look, when he said no fracking with Kamala there, because as far as they're concerned, the environment is the end game completely. They said, hey, wait a minute. You got West Virginia, you got Ohio, you got all these states you're going to lose. We've got the coal miners. And, then he says, well, only if it's dangerous. And he can't even figure out, well, maybe our grandfather. They lie and lie and lie to us. And the American people have to understand that at this point, what we've got to try to do is we've got to recognize the lies for what they are. That's why I wrote the book. And in the end, the bottom line is we've got to vote on Election Day and be real clear because Americans are fed up. You pay your taxes, Howie. I pay my taxes. We follow the law. And yet all these people don't follow the law. They're shooting law enforcement. They're defunding law enforcement. And in the end, they're going to get away with it because there's no bail in the criminal justice system. Prosecutors are elected and get to office on socialist funding where they agree not to send people to jail. What is going on in this country right now is beyond what any of us could have imagined.
Judge Jeanine,
shut it down.
We're going to have Joe DeGenova on later in the day, and we always talk about what's going on with Russiagate or Obamagate. What do you make of the special counsel's office, Mueller's office, wiping their cell phones clean? wiping everything off of them just after it came out that Lisa Page and Peter Strzok had been busted for not wiping their cell phones.
That's called obstruction of justice. It is called the destruction of material that is relevant to the case. I mean, it is a crime, and no one knows better than that it is a crime, and they should be prosecuted for that. You know, they're laughing at us, Howie. They are laughing at us. They are doing whatever they want. They're letting Hillary Clinton go. They tried to indict they tried to not just indict and impeach, but they tried a coup against a legitimately elected president. And in the end, if they are not made accountable for what's happened, the Americans are losing faith in the justice system. And it's up to us to elect people who recognize that there are consequences and there are rules. And there is one thin line between civility and barbarity, and that is law enforcement. And I worked with cops for 32 years, Howie, and don't tell me it's systemic racism. I prosecuted my share of cops, and I'm not proud of it. It had to be done, and I did it. But don't tell me the system is.
Hey, how about the guy?
Racist.
How about the guy in Lancaster, PA? The cops there were wearing body cams, and the guy has got a knife, and it's upraised, and he's coming at the police officer. And it turns out that this guy that they killed in Lancaster, PA, with the knife, was awaiting trial on charges of stabbing 4 other people, including a teenager, last year. And they riot. They riot.
There's no bail. They're proud of it. They did this. This is all planned, Howie. This is a long-term plan that is now in effect. This didn't just happen on a dime. All over the country, they've eliminated bail. All over the country, they've got prosecutors who won't send people to jail. And all over the country, they're defunding the police. This is a breakdown of law and order. And Donald Trump was prescient when he ran in 2016, and he said he was a law and order candidate. Who knew we would get to this point, Howie? Who knew?
I'm going to be very interested when they arrest that guy in Compton and find out if he was one of the people that was let go. There have been tens of thousands let go in California, prisoners that should be behind bars because of this problem, this virus. They would have been safer, and everyone would have been safer if that had remained behind bars. It's going to be very interesting, Judge Jeanine, to find out.
There's no question. And you know what, Howie, real quickly, I got a hold of a memo from the DA in Manhattan, Cyrus Vance, to his prosecutors, saying, look, we're going to ACD or basically dismiss the charges against the protesters. But do me a favor. If any of these protesters feel that they were abused by the cops, take it seriously, and we'll do an investigation, and we'll prosecute the cops. How do you like them apples?
Yeah, this is the same guy who refused to prosecute Harvey Weinstein until Ronan Farrow got involved in the matter and started writing stories, right?
I love you, Howie. You're so smart. I love it. Love being on your show.
Judge Jeanine Pirro, give us the title of your book one more time before we leave.
It's called Don't Lie to Me and Stop Trying to Steal Our Freedom. And if you want to know about the lies, pick it up. It's available for pre-order, and it's coming out next week. And I'm just tickled pink to talk to you. And tell my pal Joe DeGeneva I said hi.
I will. That's Judge Jeanine Pirro from the Fox News Channel. Have you had enough yet of the volatility of the stock markets? Down 1,000 or more points one day, up the next. Are you tired of watching that little box at the bottom of your TV screen that shows the market plunging hundreds of points in a matter of hours? You need to get diversified with Orion Metal Exchange. You shouldn't be caught flat-footed in this roller coaster ride the stock markets are on. No matter what the reason, the coronavirus or the oil price war abroad, or now the elections coming up, you need to be diversified. You always need to be diversified. And that means owning some precious metals, gold and silver. Listen up. Orion Metal Exchange is the only precious metals company that I trust. If you still haven't taken advantage of their no-obligation guide, it's not too late. Give them a call today to learn more about gold and silver. Call Orion today at 1-800-912-2300. That's 1-800-912-2300. Call them now, 1-800-912-2300. I'm Howie Carr.
A nightmare to liberals everywhere. He's Howie Carr.
This hour of the Howie Carr Show is brought to you in part by Ken's Place in Scarborough, Maine. Stop by today and have one of my favorite world-famous batter-dipped fried clams. They are the best in the world. That's Ken's Place on Route 9 in Scarborough, Maine.
Joe Biden accuses Trump of being a racist, but if you listen to Biden's comments, you would agree that he doth protest too much.
If you take a test where you're taking cocaine or not, what do you think, huh? Are you a junkie?
The first mainstream African American who is articulate and bright and clean.
And Madam President, we have predators on our streets.
That kid wearing a hoodie may very well be the next poet laureate and not a gangbanger.
They are beyond the pale, many of those people.
God love you. You've been here all day. My Lord, you may feel like you're being incarcerated.
We have no choice but to take them out of society.
Poor kids are just as bright and just as talented as white kids.
I think the two-party system is good for the South and good for the Negro.
They're going to put you all back in chains. Unlike the African American community, with notable exceptions, the Latino community is an incredibly diverse community with incredibly different attitudes about different things. If you have a problem figuring out whether you're for me or Trump, and you ain't black.
Here's how it works with my retirement accounts, and I'll bet yours too. If your 401k, your SEP, your IRA, whatever, is going up, you probably don't think very much about it, right? But if it's going down, well, there's nothing much else you can think of. So for the last couple of years, none of us have been worrying much about those quarterly statements. But lately, it's gotten a little worrisome. It's not that bad, not yet anyway, but what goes up must come down. Now is the time to start thinking about adjusting your investments. Gold and silver have always been a hedge against stock market volatility. Uncertainty about the future has traditionally met rising prices for precious metals. Orion Metal Exchange is the only precious metals company I trust. Give Orion a call to get a free, no-obligation investment guide about protecting your future with an enduring investment in gold and silver. You've got nothing to lose and everything to gain, including peace of mind, by calling Orion Metal Exchange now. Call them today at 800-912-2300. And with Orion, you'll get more metal for your money. Call 800-912-2300. That's 800-912-2300.
Remember the boy who cried wolf? I call this one the press that cried Hitler.
The president is not only racist, he's a bigot, but he is completely un-American. He is behaving like a fascist.
This is the president once again just thumping his chest and acting like he is the dictator that I think he wants to be.
President of the United States is a wannabe dictator with authoritarian tendencies.
This is exactly what authoritarians do. This is what strongmen do. This is what happens in authoritarian regimes.
We have a president with a strong authoritarian personality.
Like a dictator from another nation.
People that grew up in authoritarian regimes, seeing echoes of that in President Trump. He likes these figures like Vladimir Putin and Kim Jong-un.
This is more the actions of a dictator.
He totally wants to be a dictator. It's so obvious.
Much like Hitler took over the Nazi Party, Trump has taken over the Republican Party.
He went full Hitler.
Trump is as destructive a person in this century as Hitler, Stalin, and Mao were in the last century.
It's simply a Stalinist phrase, for God's sake.
He sounded not like a president of the United States. He actually sounded like Saddam Hussein.
This is Jeff in Woodstock, Connecticut.
This is Laura Benner in South Burlington, Vermont.
This is Jimmy Mack in Falmouth, Massachusetts, and this is The Howie Carr Show.
844-500-4242. That's the toll-free number of The Howie Carr Show. 781 says, do we provide Secret Service to former vice presidents? Do we do it as a matter of national security? I don't think we do. We provide it for the ex-presidents and former first ladies, but I don't think ex-vice presidents. Should not former presidents and vice presidents be tested for Alzheimer as a matter of national security due to the fact that they could reveal national secrets? I think national secrets get old pretty fast. I don't think there's too much concern about that. But, I mean, the guy's a presidential candidate. I mean, he should be willing to undergo a drug test, shouldn't he? I mean, it seems like just something that you should do. Somebody says, I just got my second unsolicited notice to request a mail-in ballot from the state. I'm wondering, though, that's from 413 area code. I'm just wondering if this is maybe a request. The first request was for the primary ballot, and then this was for the final election. I don't know the answer to that. I'll have to check that out. But I got one for the primary, and now I'm just wondering if when I go home tonight, I'll find one in the box for the general election. You saw the town clerk of Franklin resigned this weekend over all the missing ballots that they found in the 4th Congressional District race. It didn't affect it, but she felt compelled to resign. So it's kind of it's making it on a lot of national websites because people are saying it's a precursor of what's going to happen on November the 3rd. I hope not. Jim, you're next with Howie Carr. Go ahead, Jim.
Howie.
Yes.
How you doing?
Good.
Listen, I believe Elizabeth Warren should be held accountable for the violence against police when she was down in Louisiana and said that the entire racial justice system was racial.
Front to back, yes.
That match.
Yeah. They've all said that, though, Jim, right? I mean, how about Biden saying that he wanted to reallocate the resources, which is basically just another way of saying defund the police, right?
And as far as defund the police goes, did you read the last paragraph in that bill to defund the police in Massachusetts? Where it states that if somebody in the house says, if somebody 65 or over is in the house, or a child is in the house, that police officer cannot execute that warrant. Now, what if I was a pedophile and I had a child in there and I said, hey, I got a child in here?
Yeah. That
police officer can't go in? That's how ridiculous that bill is.
I know. The whole thing was just a complete overreaction to the death of George Floyd, many people are saying that he wasn't killed by the police. He died of a fentanyl overdose. He certainly seemed to be on something with those videos you see, and his lawyers are vigorously disputing that he died of a drug overdose. But he certainly had a great drug problem. And again, this guy Munoz, who was killed by the cops in Lancaster, PA. What would you do if a guy, and they probably knew this guy because he was a bad actor, and he was charged with stabbing 4 people last year, including a 16-year-old kid, and he's coming at you with a big knife, not a butter knife. It was a big knife, and he's got a butcher knife, and it was raised over his head. What was the cop supposed to do? Was he supposed to let him stab him? And then they say, "Oh, don't use any tear gas, don't use any pepper spray." The reason they use tear gas or pepper spray is so they don't have to shoot people. I'm Howie Carr. No matter what goes on in the world, there are 2 things we can count on: new music and new podcasts. And you know the best way to listen? Using a pair of premium wireless earbuds, especially if you can get them at less than half the price of the other guys. That's why I recommend wireless earbuds from Raycon. Raycon's newest model, the Everyday E25 earbuds, are their best ones yet, with 6 hours of playtime and seamless Bluetooth pairing. You get more bass than in previous models and a noise-isolating fit that really allows you to focus on what you're listening to. Raycon's E25s also have a more compact design than ever, so they're both stylish and discreet. No wires or stems hanging out of your ears, ever. Raycon was founded by Ray J and counts celebrities like Snoop Dogg and J.R. Smith among its fans, and they offer a 45-day return policy, so go ahead and give them a try. You'll probably be a fan too. For a limited time, get 15% off Raycon wireless earbuds at buyraycon.com/Howie. That's buyraycon.com/Howie.
Here's 1 minute with Governor
Charlie Parker in Massachusetts.
I'd certainly put myself on that list. I'm a basketball player. I always was.
There's a lot at stake here. This is not a virus to be trifled with or disrespected. Respect the virus.
I have a hard time understanding when we're going to be able to play basketball again.
We can start talking about a gradual, careful, data-driven, phased reopening. Don't let a few nice days step on that.
I need to talk to the Attorney General and find out what the actual parameters of the ruling are. Did this just happen? And the reason I read that story is because I'm a basketball player, and I agree. I was first made aware of the discrepancy on this on the day that the registrar resigned.
The vast majority, and I mean like the vast majority of the people who are part of these protests are there to make a point and to make it peacefully. That is so obvious, I'm amazed that anybody could say anything other than that. I would love to be able to open everything up tomorrow. That would be an incredibly irresponsible thing to do.
President Trump's life has changed a lot in the last couple of years, but one thing that remains consistent, his love for a good nickname.
What happened to Mini Mike? Where's he? Mini Mike, I've had him up to here. Sleepy Joe has no idea what he's even talking. He doesn't even know what he's talking about. Sleepy Joe, get off the stage, please. I don't think the guy's got a chance. Sleepy Joe, I don't think he's got it. I don't know. I think Sleepy Joe may be able to limp across the finish line. Crying Chuck. I don't want to say Crazy Nancy because if I say that, you're going to say it's a copy of Crazy Bernie, and that's no good. Who that judge? Alfred E. Newman. You know, I thought Pocahontas was gone, left in embers. I should have saved the Pocahontas thing for another year. Did you ever hear Pocahontas? It's Pocahontas, Elizabeth Warren, little pencil neck Adam Schiff. Got the smallest, thinnest neck I've ever seen. But Nancy Pelosi, I call her Nervous Nancy. Crooked Hillary. Crooked Hillary Clinton. Bill Clinton said to Crooked Hillary. Crooked Hillary, do you think he calls her Crooked Hillary, Mike?
You're listening to the Howie Carr Show.
Hair loss is not one of life's more enjoyable experiences. If you're looking to fill in your hairline or reverse years of hair loss, DiStefano Hair Restoration will create a result that will be a transformative experience. The result of my IGT procedure was quite remarkable. I now have fuller, thicker hair so I can even wear it a bit longer. There are a few major decisions I've made in my life that I wish I did sooner. My hair restoration is number one. It was by far one of the best moves I've ever made. My hair looks awesome, and the confidence from having a full head of hair again has left me feeling great. I used to look in the mirror and dreaded seeing my ever-increasing bald spot. Now when I look in the mirror, I see the new me with a full head of thick hair. For information on how to make the same choice I did, go to hairman.com/Howie. What are you waiting for? More hair to fall out? Get the hair you've always wanted. Hairman.com/Howie.
Normally, we give Fredo Cuomo a lot of attention, but lately it's Governor Andrew Cuomo who's been grabbing headlines. Let's take a listen to some of his best moments.
You're an essential worker, so go take a job as an essential worker.
But the people aren't hiring because of...
No, there are people hiring. You can get a job as an essential worker. So now you can go to work and you can be an essential worker and you're not going to kill anyone. The number is down because we brought the number down. God did not do that. Fate did not do that. Destiny did not do that. We're not going to make America great again. It was never that great. Because I can also see you're in masterful shape, buff even. It has a very nice floral bouquet. A little I detected lilac, hydrangea, tulips. What does it smell like to you? Tulips, yes. Floral bouquet.
Because if that's who they are, and if they are the extreme conservatives, they have no place in the state of New York.
The Democrat Party is so full of loonies, social justice warriors, progressives, whatever you want to call them, that sometimes certain moonbats get overlooked. So let's take this moment to shine the woke spotlight on Crazy Mazie Hirono.
I am not going to be a fool to Mitch McConnell's shenanigans. Why should any of us?
And it's not just a dog whistle, it's a bullhorn.
Bullhorns. It's racism. It's basically, for many people, it's anti-Semitic. It's white supremacy.
Why not take a stand and vote yes for it? Seems like you're trying to have it both ways, not be hung by it politically, but also not say that you don't support it.
I disagree with you, Katie, that why should we engage in the kind of sham shenanigans that Mitch McConnell is really good at?
I'm confused.
This was just a sham.
Guess who's perpetuating all of these kinds of actions? It's the men in this country, and I just want to say to the men in this country, just shut up and step up.
I think the noose is closing, and, you know, Giuliani is like a loose cannon, and so is the president, frankly.
You're listening to the Howie Carr Show.
The word that's helping Elizabeth Warren get through her so-so campaign? So.
Will you raise taxes on the middle class to pay for it, yes or no?
So the way I see this, so understand, taxing income is not going to get you where you need to be the way taxing wealth does. So no, and I'm not here to criticize other Democrats. So my proposal is that student loan debt would be canceled up to $50,000.
So, Elizabeth, can you put this issue to bed and tell us whether or not you are, in fact, a member of a minority group?
So, middle-class families.
Why did you list yourself as an American Indian on this Texas bar application?
So, I grew up out in Oklahoma. So, look.
Why did you check those boxes?
We all shop online, and now you could do it a better way with Honey. Honey is the free online shopping tool that automatically finds the best promo codes and applies them to your cart. Just download Honey to your computer and shop on all your favorite websites like normal. When you check out, just click the Apply Coupons button that pops up. Wait a few seconds for Honey to scan its database of all the working coupons on the web. Then watch your price drop. Honey works on nearly every online store, including Walmart, Target, Home Depot, Macy's, Etsy, and more. And Honey has found over $2 billion in savings for its users. That's why it has over 100,000 five-star reviews on the Google Chrome store. It's 100% free to use and installs in seconds. Plus, it's backed by PayPal, so you know it's secure and reliable. Not using Honey is literally passing up free money. So get Honey for free today at joinhoney.com/Howie. That's joinhoney.com/Howie.
The coronavirus has made our lives unpredictable, but one thing you can always count on, the White House press corps will always ask President Trump ridiculous questions.
Question, Mr. President, should Americans have to decide between staying healthy and going back to work?
Hey, just checking on oil again today. I was wondering...
Oil?
Yeah.
Where is it today?
Well, I was wondering if you...
No, where's the price? Give me the price.
I'm not sure, to be honest.
How can you ask a question when you don't know the price?
I'll look it up for you.
I guess nearly 200 dead, 14,000 who are sick, millions, as you witness, who are scared right now. What do you say to Americans who are watching?
Better strap yourself in. It's time for the Howie Carr Show.
2 LASD deputies were shot by a suspect, both reportedly shot in the head, and both have been rushed into surgery.
2 deputies who were ambushed by a gunman in a cowardly fashion.
This animal goes up to the car, 2 unsuspecting fine people, and I called him an animal, and I was criticized by people for calling him an animal. They said he's a human being. He's not a human being. He's an animal. He's not a human being.
They were both critically injured, multiple gunshot wounds. They are currently being treated for at the hospital.
Oh, 2 sheriffs shot in the face. They just got aired out. Somebody ran up on the car and blushed on their ass.
Live from the Matthews Brothers Studios.
We are out here at St. Francis Hospital. We are going to go up here and just check on these murderers right here.
I hope they die, motherfucker.
Well, they were saying death to the police, kill the police. The hospital should be a sanctuary where we should leave hospitals alone.
Who's your captain? Howie Carr.
Joe Biden, he's shot, and everybody knows it. And you know what? They ought to be ashamed, because they do interviews with him, they give him the questions, and they let him read the answer from a teleprompter. How about the other day? Could you move that a little bit closer? See these things? Move it up.
Move it up here.
Unchained and unstoppable.
You ever see a guy, he changed his mind on fracking? There will be no fracking. He doesn't even know what fracking is, I guarantee.
Exacerbating the need for environmental justice. Sorry, as a bug. Speaking of the environment.
Rump swabs, hacks, and moonbats beware. It's Howie Carr.
Welcome to the Howie Carr Show. There will be no interruptions by bugs in this hour on Newsmax. I'm pretty sure of that. I don't see any bugs floating around here. It's been a long year, and it's not nearly over yet, this long malaise that is 2020. But there are a couple of bits of good news this afternoon. One is that he was just with the President of the United States. California Governor Gavin Newsom at least acknowledged that the state had a lot better job to do with managing the forests of California, which is good. I mean, that's the first step to admit that you have a problem. And of course, he blamed global warming too, and said the planet has a problem with its plumbing. Well, the governor, if you put stack high kindling wood around your house and then throw gasoline on it and set it on fire, probably in a few hours you're going to have a problem with plumbing in the house and heating in the house and air conditioning in the house and all that. The other bit of good news is in Pennsylvania, a federal judge, a Trump appointee, ruled on Monday that Pennsylvania Governor Tom Wolf's coronavirus orders, which shut down the state, closed businesses, and limited gatherings, were unconstitutional. And he's a lot of these orders have been lifted, and they're going to open more restaurants as time goes on in the next couple of weeks in Pennsylvania. But this is a good first step. Even in an emergency, Judge William Stickman IV said, the authority of government is not unfettered. Amen to that.
I've been starting to wonder, though.
Here in Massachusetts, it apparently is unfettered, and in New York, it's unfettered as well.
And say this.
I'm glad some states are getting back to normal.
I say this a lot, but I mean, it's just the joy in which they are telling us what to do that frightens me. It's not so much the rules, and if I thought they really were doing anything, I probably wouldn't mind it as much. It's the delight in their eyes when they tell me, can you please step outside? Because we have too many people right now and we can't social distance, thank you.
That happened to you this weekend, didn't it?
It did. I had a fabulous weekend on Martha's Vineyard, but I do have to share, I parked in one of the big lots they have, and then you take a shuttle to the steamship or, whatever boat you're taking.
Ferry.
Right.
To the ferry to Martha's Vineyard.
So I parked, and I was with, a few friends, and we got on the shuttle.
Do you ever see Barack Obama and Muchel on that ferry, by the way?
I keep my eyes peeled.
Well, because I know that, they don't want to use private jets to get to the island because they're so concerned about the specter of global warming.
Well, the other thing is he is so busy keeping the tides from rising that he can't also worry about the air. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. It's one element at a time.
I would think he would want to be on the ferry because he could take the pulse of the hoi polloi at the same time.
I don't think he's into that.
You don't think he's into taking the pulse?
Pulse taking. I don't think that's his vibe. I don't think he cares about anyone else's pulses. So I get on the shuttle, and we're all sitting there kind of waiting for them to get going. And it's a pretty crowded shuttle, but everyone had a seat. And all of a sudden, another couple of people start coming on the shuttle. And this man says to the bus driver, "Are you even socially distancing here? I mean, for God's sakes, you're packing people in." And so the woman who was getting on at that time heard the man say this. And she said, "I'm not sitting next to him. I'm a nurse. I take 2 COVID tests a day. I'm a healthcare worker. I don't need him. We all have masks on. Get over yourself." And then she sat down and said,
Please tell me they were wearing face coverings.
We were wearing face coverings.
I increasingly notice that healthcare workers, people in hospitals, medical clinics, are much more skeptical of this than your average Karen.
I would agree.
Out on the street. I took a walk this weekend myself with the mailroom manager, and we were walking around, and these people were coming at us, the reservoir in Weston, they call it the Weston Aqueduct, and these people were coming at us with a dog that was unleashed, and they said, do we have to put up our masks? And we said, no, we don't care. And they said, you sound like our kind of people. That's what they said to me. And I said, yeah, we know how to read charts.
Yeah.
Exactly.
We understand numbers.
Yeah, we're outside. There's a nice breeze blowing, and people in our demographics group, we don't have a problem to begin with.
And my favorite part of the whole interaction was when the woman finally sat down. She sat near me, and she said very loudly, "Someone forgot their prescription, their Ativan this weekend." And for those who don't know, Ativan is a type of Xanax. And I had a good chuckle. She knew I was kind of on her team with this whole thing. But it was very interesting. The signs in Martha's Vineyard, this is going to shock you, Howie. I did not see one Trump sign, but I saw several Biden-Harris signs.
Did you see Biden?
I saw some Bidons. I also saw a lot of water is life, which I didn't know Republicans were anti-water, but I guess that's,
Nancy Pelosi says the Republicans want to poison the water. She said that, and poison the air.
That makes sense now.
Because you see, Republicans' kids won't be breathing the same air as Democrats' kids. So that relates us what Nancy Pelosi says. Nancy Pelosi, she says Mother Earth is angry too. We played that cut in the first hour.
Hey,
what do you got for news?
Okay, so for news today, speaking of Nancy Pelosi, a YouTuber made news when he live streamed himself going the bathroom on Nancy Pelosi's driveway.
In San Francisco?
Yes, and it was not a liquid type of situation.
Was he arrested? It's hard to get arrested in San Francisco.
Well, he said it was a peaceful protest. Poop. So I think he was let off the hook. No, it doesn't say whether or not it helped his streaming numbers. I personally wouldn't want to watch that stream.
I just want to know if he got lugged.
Oh, no, I don't believe he got lugged. So I also wanted to talk about this, Howie, because I know that this is, when I see his name pop up, I go, oh, that's an easy news story for me. Anthony Weiner is back in the news. He was in the New York Post today because he has a new job.
Yes, what's his new job?
Anthony Weiner is trying to rebuild his shattered life by running a company that makes countertops out of broken glass. He was recently named the CEO of Ice Stone.
Why do you need to make them out of broken glass?
I think it's like a trendy thing. They have a factory in the Brooklyn Navy Yard. Weiner revealed his new gig in a promotional email that shows a product sample containing colorful flecks of orange and blue glass.
I think he should have stuck to being a dishwasher in his brother's restaurant. But now that I think about it, the restaurants are all shut down in New York City.
Also, do you want to go to a restaurant that's dishes are being washed by Anthony Weiner?
Yeah. Is Anthony Weiner, by the way, a.k.a. Carlos Danger, who used to be in Congress, and then he did a little sexting, and then he was running for mayor, and he did a little more sexting, and that was the end. And now we have Mayor de Blasio, which Anthony Weiner's got a lot to answer for in the form of Mayor de Blasio. But is he any relation, Anthony Weiner, to State Senator Scott Weiner of California?
I do not know.
He is the sponsor of the bill that Governor Newsom just signed into legislation that allows judges to have a say on whether to list someone as a sex offender for having sodomizing a minor.
It's trying to normalize pedophilia, basically.
Pederasty, I would say.
Okay.
More like that's a variation of pedophilia.
By the way, just because we're on the topic of Anthony Weiner, Taylor, have you seen, I can't remember if we talked about this, the Anthony Weiner documentary?
Oh, yes. I always keep an eye out for Anthony. No, I have not seen.
It is amazing. It is truly amazing.
It's been out for a while.
It's been out forever, but it's something that if you're just looking for something to watch, you can watch it whenever. Because it's supposed to be this comeback story, and it ends up just chronicling his more disasters in his life. And his wife is in it, or his estranged wife.
Uma,
who's Hillary Clinton's BFF. Very good documentary. That's a tip for everyone out there.
And they let the filmmakers were there when he was getting busted for sexting that 16-year-old girl in North Carolina, and he let them stay in.
But that's the best kind of documentaries, kind of a gray garden. You start with this idea of, we're here to film this, and then something bigger happens. So they were there to film this guy running a campaign, getting back out there, and they end up catching him at some of the more worst moments of his life.
And he said a lot of worst moments.
Yes, he has to compete with.
The Eden Pure Thunderstorm Super Air Purifier sold out in 2 minutes last week with our special. However, Eden Pure is continuing the Thunderstorm sale for Howie Carr Show listeners. Thunderstorm is a super compact, super powerful air purifier. You can hold it in your hand. You just plug it into your electrical outlet or into your car by USB cable to purify the air. The Thunderstorm Super Air Purifier works like a real thunderstorm. It quietly sends out super oxygen and negative ions to destroy 99.9% of all air pollution, including germs, allergens, and odors. We've been using it in our studio, and it makes all the difference. It really does make the room smell fresh like it would outside after a thunderstorm. It quickly eliminates all odors, including cigarette, and pet odors. And those are the most difficult to get rid of. Veterinarians and real estate agents have been using the Eden Pure Thunderstorm to get rid of odors they could never remove before. For protection from germs and to get rid of stubborn, lingering odors, you need the Thunderstorm. The Thunderstorm air purifier covers up to 400 feet, has no filters to replace, and runs super quiet. It's 100 times more powerful than the big noisy air purifiers that cost over $700. We have one running in the studio right now, and you can't even hear it, can you? The Thunderstorm is now on sale at just $97, but with Howie's big discount, it will be just $87. Use code word Howie at checkout. The more you buy, the more you save. EdenPure.com. Your problem room will no longer be a problem. I'm Howie Carr.
He's suave, he's debonair, he's Howie Carr.
We all love President Trump's off-the-cuff comments, but he's never in rarer form than when he's speaking at a rally. Take a listen.
I hit Pocahontas way too early. I thought she was gone. She's emerged from the ashes. And now it looks like she could beat Sleepy Joe. He's fallen asleep. He has no idea what the hell he's doing or saying. I don't know. I'm not a vain person. But I look better under an incandescent light than these crazy lights that are beaming down on him. That guy's got a serious weight problem. Go home, start exercising. Got a bigger problem than I do. Now he goes home and his mom says, "What the hell have you just done?" How do you top that? I'm just ready. The big, beautiful crescendo, and this character's going back home. One person just going home to mommy a little bit sooner. Ah, these are phony people, but that's okay. You know, when you think of it, I'm president, and they're not. You really have to elect me. Whether you like me or not, it makes no difference, because our country will go to hell if any of these people get in.
Here's how it works with my retirement accounts, and I'll bet yours too. If your 401k, your SEP, your IRA, whatever, is going up, you probably don't think very much about it, right? But if it's going down, well, there's nothing much else you can think of. So for the last couple of years, none of us have been worrying much about those quarterly statements. But lately, it's gotten a little worrisome. It's not that bad, not yet anyway, but what goes up must come down. Now is the time to start thinking about adjusting your investments. Gold and silver have always been a hedge against stock market volatility. Uncertainty about the future has traditionally meant rising prices for precious metals. Orion Metal Exchange is the only precious metals company I trust. Give Orion a call to get a free, no-obligation investment guide about protecting your future with an enduring investment in gold and silver. You've got nothing to lose and everything to gain, including peace of mind, by calling Orion Metal Exchange now. Call them today at 800-912-2300. And with Orion, you'll get more metal for your money. Call 800-912-2300. That's 800-912-2300. And now, a minute of wisdom from Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez.
Millennials and people and, Gen Z and all these folks that come after us are looking up, and we're like, the world is going to end in 12 years if we don't address climate change. And your biggest issue is how are we going to pay for it? And this is the war. This is our World War II.
I think that there's a lot of people more concerned about being precisely, factually, and semantically correct than about being morally right.
But being factually correct is important.
It's absolutely important.
And if we work our butts off to make sure that we take back all three chambers of Congress, all three chambers of government, the presidency, the Senate, and the House in 2020, we can't start working in 2020.
This is Chris in Rochester, Mass.
This is Mark in Nashville, New Hampshire.
This is Lorna in Truxtown, Pennsylvania. And this is the Howie Carr Show.
844-500-4242. Today's poll question is brought to you by the Oxford Club. Start feeling secure about your life savings and investments today by watching Bill O'Reilly's Great American Wealth Project. Go to HowieCarrShow.com and click on the Bill O'Reilly banner. Taylor, what's the poll question? What are the results thus far?
Did you watch more than a few seconds of any NFL game yesterday?
No, I didn't. I went by in a restaurant. There was a